What if I told you that the next Samsung Ultra phone might not just be another incremental update, but a genuine turning point in what a smartphone can be? Imagine a device where charging isn't a chore, where the camera doesn't just capture moments, but understands them, where performance feels effortless even under extreme pressure, and where your privacy is built into the screen itself, not just an afterthought. That's the promise shaping up around the Galaxy S26 Ultra, and based on the latest leaks, insider reports, and early software clues, Samsung might be preparing its most transformative flagship in years. Now, before we dive deep into what's coming and why it matters, take a quick second to subscribe to this channel. We focus exclusively on clear, research-backed tech updates with a special eye on user interface changes, real-world usability, and how new features actually affect your daily life. If you're someone who cares not just about specs, but about how technology fits into your routine, you're in the right place. Because here's the thing, the smartphone industry has settled into a rhythm of predictable upgrades. A slightly better chip, a marginally improved camera, a few more watts of charging speed. But 2026 feels different. With the Galaxy S26 Ultra, Samsung appears to be stepping away from that safe playbook and aiming for something more ambitious. A phone that doesn't just keep up with the competition, but redefines what users should expect from a premium device. And the evidence is mounting faster than ever. Let's start at the core, the brain of the device. Every smartphone experience begins with its processor, and for the Galaxy S26 Ultra, all signs point to the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5. Now, don't let the name fool you. This isn't just another generational bump. Early benchmarks and engineering samples suggest this chip represents a fundamental shift in how mobile processors handle both power and intelligence. Yes, it's faster, significantly so. But more importantly, it's smarter and more efficient. Unlike previous chips that prioritized peak performance at the cost of battery drain, the Gen 5 seems engineered for sustained, balanced operation. That means smoother multitasking, quicker app launches, and far less thermal throttling during extended gaming or video editing sessions. But beyond raw speed, what really sets this chip apart is its dedicated AI engine. We're not talking about gimmicky filters or voice assistants that barely work. This is hardware-level AI acceleration designed to power real features, like on-device photo enhancement, predictive text that actually learns your habits, or even context-aware battery management that adapts to your usage patterns over time. And here's a detail many overlook. Samsung is reportedly working more closely with Qualcomm this cycle, possibly even influencing firmware-level optimization specific to the S26 Ultra. That kind of collaboration could mean tighter integration between the silicon and One UI, resulting in fewer background hiccups, faster system animations, and a generally more polished feel. In other words, this might be one of those rare years where upgrading actually feels worth it. Not just on paper, but in your hands, every single day. But let's shift gears now, because there's another area where Samsung has historically played it too safe: charging. For years, while competitors raced toward 100W, even 240W wired charging, Samsung held firm at 450W, citing safety and battery longevity. And while those concerns are valid, nobody wants a swollen battery after 6 months. The reality is that users felt left behind. Waiting over an hour to fully charge a flagship phone in 2026 just doesn't cut it anymore. Well, the tide may finally be turning. Multiple reliable sources now indicate the Galaxy S26 Ultra will support 60W wired fast charging. On the surface, that number might not sound revolutionary compared to what's available elsewhere. But remember, Samsung's approach has always been about balance. Their 60W's implementation is expected to use a more advanced charging algorithm that minimizes heat buildup and preserves long-term battery health, while still delivering dramatically faster top-ups. Imagine this: you wake up late, grab your phone at 20% battery, plug it in while brushing your teeth, and by the time you're out the door, you're already at 70%. That's the kind of real-world impact we're talking about. And it doesn't stop there. Wireless charging is also getting a meaningful upgrade, rumored to jump from 50W to 20W. That means placing your phone on a pad during lunch could give you hours of extra use without ever touching a cable. For a brand that once lagged behind in charging tech, this signals a major philosophical shift. Samsung is finally listening to what users have been asking for and responding with thoughtful, practical improvements rather than just chasing headlines. Of course, no Ultra phone conversation is complete without talking about the camera. And this year, Samsung seems to be moving away from the megapixel arms race and focusing instead on optical quality and real-world performance. The main sensor is expected to feature a dramatically wider aperture, possibly as wide as f1.4. To put that in perspective, most current flagships hover around f1.8 or f2.0. A wider aperture means more light hits the sensor, which translates directly into cleaner, brighter, more detailed photos in low-light environments. But it's not just about stills. Video performance is also set to improve, thanks to better depth of field rendering and more natural bokeh, even in motion. And then there's the telephoto lens. The S25 Ultra already impressed with its 5x periscope zoom, but low-light performance at that range has always been a compromise. The S26 Ultra is rumored to give that telephoto module a brighter aperture as well, potentially f2.6 or even wider. That small change could make night-time zoom shots usable for the first time without heavy computational assistance. Beyond hardware, Samsung is also refining the software side. Expect smarter HDR processing that avoids the overcooked, oversaturated look that plagued earlier Galaxy models. There are also hints of improved anti-reflective lens coatings. Something that sounds minor but makes a huge difference when shooting toward the sun or under harsh streetlights at night. Fewer flares, less ghosting, more accurate colors. These aren't flashy marketing points, but they're the kind of subtle refinements that photographers and everyday users alike will appreciate the moment they start using the camera. Now, let's talk about how the phone feels in your hand. Because design matters more than specs sometimes. The Galaxy S26 Ultra is expected to adopt slightly more rounded corners on both the display and the chassis, aligning it more closely with the standard S26 and S26 models. This isn't just about aesthetics, it's about ergonomics. Sharp edges might look futuristic, but they dig into your palm during long scrolling sessions. By softening those lines, Samsung is making the Ultra more comfortable to hold, without sacrificing its premium presence. There's also strong evidence pointing to a redesigned camera island. Instead of individual lenses floating independently on the back panel, the S26 Ultra may group them into a unified module, similar to how some recent Android flagships have approached rear design. Some fans will miss the iconic separated lenses, but this new layout could allow for better internal component arrangement, improved thermal dissipation, and a cleaner visual identity. More importantly, it signals that Samsung is willing to evolve its design language, even on its most premium model. But perhaps the most surprising, and genuinely innovative, leak involves the display itself. Hidden within early builds of One UI 8.5 is code referencing a privacy mode that appears to be hardware integrated. If this pans out, the Galaxy S26 Ultra could feature a dynamic privacy filter built directly into the screen. Unlike traditional static privacy films that dim your display and narrow the viewing angle permanently, this system would let you toggle privacy mode on or off with a single tap. Picture this: you're on a crowded train, checking your bank app, or reading a sensitive email. You enable privacy mode, and suddenly, anyone sitting beside you sees only a darkened screen, while you see everything clearly. Step off the train, disable it, and your full brightness and color accuracy return instantly. No need to peel off a screen protector or sacrifice image quality 2047. If Samsung pulls this off reliably, it could become one of those quietly indispensable features that users never knew they needed, until they can't live without it. And let's not forget the foundation of it all: Samsung's display technology remains unmatched. Even without the privacy feature, the S26 Ultra is expected to push brightness beyond 3000 nits, offer flawless 120Hz LTPO adaptive refresh, and use a new generation of Gorilla Glass Victus for improved scratch and drop resistance. Combined with deeper blacks, perfect color calibration, and minimal bezels, this could very well be the best smartphone screen ever made. All of these improvements feed into one critical area: battery life. Even if the physical battery capacity stays roughly the same as the S25 Ultra, the combination of a more efficient chip, smarter software, and refined power management could lead to noticeably longer screen on time. Samsung has been investing heavily in battery health algorithms. Things like adaptive charging that slow down overnight top-offs to reduce stress on the cells. Those efforts are likely to continue, meaning your S26 Ultra might not just last longer each day, but also stay healthier over 2 or 3 years of use. When you step back and look at the full picture, the performance leap, the charging overhaul, the optical camera upgrades, the ergonomic design tweaks, the potential privacy display, and the relentless focus on real-world usability, it becomes clear that Samsung isn't just iterating. They're recalibrating. The Galaxy S26 Ultra feels like a response to years of user feedback, competitive pressure, and internal ambition. It's a phone designed not just to impress spec sheets, but to disappear into your life, working so seamlessly that you forget you're even using cutting-edge tech. Now, of course, we must remember these are still leaks. Nothing is confirmed until Samsung takes the stage. Features can change, timelines can shift, and promises can fade. But the consistency across multiple sources, from supply chain reports to software strings to insider briefings, suggests that much of this is grounded in reality. If even half of what we've discussed today comes true, the Galaxy S26 Ultra won't just be another flagship. It could become a benchmark, a phone that forces the entire industry to raise its game. And whether you're a longtime Galaxy fan, a switcher from another ecosystem, or just someone curious about where smartphones are headed, this is a story worth following closely. So if you want to stay ahead of every confirmed detail, every official announcement, and every real-world test as we get closer to launch, make sure you're subscribed to this channel. We'll be covering the Galaxy S26 Ultra from every angle, focusing not just on what's new, but on what actually matters to you. Because in the world of tech, the most exciting innovations aren't always the loudest. They're the ones that quietly make your life better, one thoughtful upgrade at a time. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next update.